Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope this video reaches all of my fellow Kibbe lovers. If you don't know anything about the Kibbe body typing system, go and watch the video that I filmed about it previously because you're gonna want to get some context. In today's video, it's quite exciting. I'm going to share with you the whole process that I went through to get body typed by a Kibbe body typing expert. Her name is Winona. Her YouTube name is The Aligned Lover, I believe. Anywho, I'm going to link her channel.
So I was personally super drawn to the Kibbe system because I am a nerd for classification or categorization systems and patterns. So any system that really helps you contemplate the relationship between outer form, inner form, cause and effects, the shape and whatever is shaping that shape is really appealing to me. Plus, I love style and aesthetics, so having that extra layer of suggestions for draping fabric over certain body patterns or the use of certain prints to really echo a certain pattern in someone's features is just fascinating to me. So there's just so much for me to think about.
I contacted her to get body typed and she did it. It seemed to align with what a lot of you guys were saying and what I kind of felt in my heart and soul, but I was trying so hard to resist. So I'm going to share with you what I got typed as. I also want to share my thoughts on what I think kind of went awry when I was typing myself, just in case there are some of you out there who are struggling yourself or may find that the answer that you got doesn't really quite speak to you.
So when people struggle to self-type, I have found that it is due mainly to the three following reasons. Number one, not being calibrated to the meaning of yin and yang within the Kibbe system. So as you mentioned, you believed you were a classic because you considered yourself to be quite balanced and moderate, and nothing extreme is really evident on you. And I totally agree, but in the Kibbe system, classics are a group dominated by moderateness in terms of having an average or very mixed amount of the extremes, yin and yang, that show up as a range of features with a range of a certain vertical height, a certain range of width and broadness or fleshiness to muscularity, limb length, spacing of the features. So it's very, very calibrated to whatever yin and yang are defined within the system. It's different from the colloquial or collective understanding of yin and yang or very generalized masculine or feminine traits. So it can take a little time to really get a feel for the different extremes of yin and yang in the system and the different combinations, but that I think is the number one reason why it's hard to self-type, because you really have to go through the whole spectrum. The second reason I think people struggle to self-type is because there is a lot of material online that suggests a certain aesthetic or exaggerated personality type being tied to a certain group, and that can really create a barrier because it can be hard to resonate with a certain group if your exposure to the group's identity or idea is very, very exaggerated. So like in your case, a lot of material online would suggest that gamines are almost like children, like very, very childlike, very animated. It's a lot more subtle than that. They just have this youthfulness to them and this vivaciousness, but it's not the same as, dressing like kind of like a toddler with all the crazy stripes and the very high contrast color blocking. So yeah, there's just that kind of aesthetic tie to certain groups being perpetuated. But really, any group can dress with any aesthetic. It's just all about how the fabric drapes over the body. And lastly, the third reason people struggle to self-type is because they're using the test and focusing way too much on individual features. Typing yourself is really all about identifying your dominant aspects and figuring out which group mimics or echoes the dominant shapes and proportions that you have. When you take the test, equal weight is put on small features like the shape of your lips, as is the weight put on very, very big concepts like your vertical line or your bone structure. So the test does not give equal or correct importance to certain answers and questions. Plus, people tend to you just become obsessed with certain features. The shape of your shoulders in isolation is not going to determine your type, neither is the shape of your jawline. So to sum it up, if you want to self-type, I highly recommend calibrating yourself to the system, just really getting to know the whole spectrum. Number 2, knowing that all aesthetics are possible on all types. It's really all about taking that aesthetic and tailoring it to the needs of your body, accommodating your features. And number 3, seeing the big picture of your look instead of focusing too much on individual features.
Start from the very beginning, shall we? That first video that I filmed, some of you were very emphatically saying that I have to be a Gamine for X, Y, and Z reason. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to put my hands up and say, yes, something felt very right about what you were saying. One of the reasons I love the Kibbe body typing system so much is not only because it glorifies every single body and body type and body shape, and there's no wrong way to look, to dress really, it's just what's recommended for your lines and what really enhances and brings out your best side, but also it allows you to kind of connect with that part of yourself that is so inherently tied into your body. The body, you know, we are embodied creatures. And so how we are created and the shapes and the lines and the yin and yang energy that our bodies contain is truly a reflection, a large reflection of who we are on the inside, of a part of our soul. And we have so many sides to us, but sometimes we try and suppress certain sides.
I think it's just really important to remember that the whole spectrum is beautiful. There's no inferior or superior position on the spectrum. Sure, people have personal preferences. They're attracted to certain traits or patterns or features more than others, but that's personal. This spectrum is impersonal. It views all body types as equally wonderful and beautiful, equally deserving of care being taken in terms of dressing and accommodating the types carefully so that they can really celebrate their structure and their unique looks. So the whole spectrum is a celebration of diversity, and all the groups within it deserve equal amounts of appreciation and care. A romantic does not deserve more carefulness in dressing with intention than a natural, even though one type may seem or look a little bit more polished or high maintenance because they need to accommodate certain aspects with a little bit more meticulousness. Overall, they just all need attention and they all deserve appreciation.
So when I read that you guys were saying, Amena, you know, Gamine, look into Gamine, I was like, damn it! This is such a part of me that I try and kind of pack away because, I mean, predominantly the background that I come from. So I have worked in corporate, I've worked in education as a teacher, and I come from a cultural background where women can often be infantilized. If you kind of look younger or a bit kiddish and a bit girly, it can work against you in terms of how seriously you're taken by colleagues. I mean, when I was a teacher, it definitely played into how I was treated by the students, and I really had to enforce my kind of disciplinarian, authoritarian side as best I could in the very beginning to establish that, you know, I'm not one of you guys, I'm not your age, you need to, you know, I had to set those boundaries. So to me, I had this misconception about the Gamine body type in that it was just very kiddish, it was like too like girly and too playful. You know, I had to really confront that within myself because it's the part of me that I try and kind of hide away. And I think that a lot of you guys, particularly women who, like me, are on this journey of reclaiming yourself and your body and really appreciating your body for what it is, and most importantly, kind of waking up and snapping out of a sense of dissociation where you feel like you're not attached to this body. If you come from that kind of a background, it can be a little bit of a wobbly start in that you face the misconceptions you have not only about these body types that Kibbe has so beautifully kind of expressed and celebrated, but also exploring within yourself the parts of you that you try to hide away and resist because of previous patterns or traumas attached to what you think that body type is associated with. Certainly without my makeup, like when my friends come around, they'll be like, oh, you look like a teenager, oh, look, you look like you're 12. And particularly now in this sort of patriarchal construct when it comes to age, people might think that that's a compliment, but to me, I've always taken it as is what I say not being taken seriously enough kind of thing, you know? So I really do resist that. The classic aura and essence of elegance, sophistication, maturity, that kind of really appealed to me and felt like this safer place to operate from. Secondly, I've always, I guess, I don't know if body dysmorphia has to come into it, right? To an extent. And again, this is why you have to kind of tread on this ground very carefully, and why I think just getting yourself typed by an expert, just as an additional thing, is quite useful, to be honest. And even if you do have yourself figured out, it's a fun thing to do. All right, let's face it, it is kind of fun. I was well excited to get my report, but I'm going to come on to that a little bit later. The mix of yin and yang in Gamine is something that I think was the hardest thing for me to really embrace and accept. You know, growing up, I was, you know, a tomboy, always had that yang energy about me, and I still do. But I think the process of having given birth to my kids and seeing my body shape change and seeing my hips undoubtedly get wider, right? Through childbirth, the process of childbirth means that your hips get wider and they stay that way. They don't ever go back to your kind of prepubescent size because you've birthed a human being. The yang energy, for some reason, didn't feel right for me. I just didn't feel like, oh, that's feminine enough, you know? But why does it have to be that way? You know, why can't the yangness that is expressed by our bodies, be it in our size, in our height, in the shape of our bones, in the composition of our bodies, our flesh, why can't that just as easily be a part of our feminine identity as all the classic yin features, which are, you know, being smaller, the curviness, the roundedness, the more, you know, the fleshy parts of us? Why can't they be as valid as each other, both the yin and the yang, in us expressing and embracing our femininity, you know? And so, yeah, I'm getting a bit deep. I am. This is going there, all right? After I filmed that video, I thought, you know what? Forget doing the test again. Forget all the nitty-gritty technical stuff. I'm just going to go and I'm going to experiment. I'm going to just experiment with different styles of clothing, and I'm going to start off with generally the Gamine style. So the Gamine comes, as a lot of you know, you've got the pure Gamine, you've got Flamboyant Gamine, you've got soft Gamine, okay? 3 types. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to generally experiment with the Gamine styling. So what did I do? I started experimenting more with color, in that I started wearing more of it. Brighter colors, I started wearing more cropped things. And when I say cropped, I don't mean necessarily like super cropped, although I did try that as well. Just shorter sort of styles that I feel and indeed do complement the Gamine body more than the very long lines. All right, so I just thought, you know, let me just try it. Let me just try the short. So rather than to get a very long jacket, I started with slightly more cropped ones, slightly shorter blazers, you know, slightly shorter jackets and coats. And then I would try like very short ones. I started experimenting with patterns and prints in my clothing, which I have not done in a very long time. I started experimenting with more tailored things that fit my body frame better. And for Gamine styles, it's not about things being tight. In fact, that can detract. You know, wearing like tight jersey things. We're not talking about tight in that sense, talking more about tailored things that fit well, things with some structure. I started experimenting with more high-waisted trousers and jeans and high-waisted trousers that fit me better. I started buying clothes that are in my size, for goodness sake. You know, it's just so worth it to take that time out for yourself. Self-care really doesn't have to be candles and bubble baths and face masks, although that is also a part of it. There is the physical element of it. Time. Giving yourself time is self-care. I do still love the classic styling. And that's the point. The point of the Kibbe system is not to say, hey, you gotta wear that or else. It's, hey, this is what's gonna work best for you. Why don't you have a play, right? And for me, am I still gonna wear very long maxi dresses? Yes, I am, right? Like, it's not really recommended for the Gamine style, but I love me a maxi dress, all right? I really do. But instead, what I started to do was to incorporate some Gamine touches into the classic styling. So for example, statement belts, jewelry that's a little bit more animated, more bold makeup, right? Detailing on the sleeves. Fitted cuffs work really well. What about the shoulders? You know, puffy shoulders. Not humongous such that it overwhelms your frame, but just something with a little bit of that shape around your shoulders, I think looks really beautiful on Gamines, even if the rest of the top is quite plain, or indeed it's a classic kind of classic outfit, just an extra detail like a puffy sleeve or a bit more of a bold color in the outfit really does offset that sort of classicness, introduces a bit of Gamine and just, I think, fits better. And that's what I started to notice. I became a little bit more intentional with the shape of the outfits, with the texture, the material, the tailoring, the details, all those kinds of things that really come together and create that overall aesthetic, which ultimately translates into your energy that day, like how we treat ourselves, sorry, I'm just making sure that the camera's not died. There's no one here today. Often Hubsy's like sitting back there helping me along, so I really hope the sound's okay. In fact, I'm gonna check the sound. Bloody mic switched off last time I tried to do this by myself. Ended up with no sound. We're good. All right, so in the meantime, even before I did my style report with Nona, I really did just try out different things. I became more playful. I'm gonna wear it. Who cares if I can get away with it or not? Who cares what people think? Who cares what people say? Like, let me just have a go. Let me play, let me experiment. I began to embrace more kind of yang elements. Bow ties, more structured shoulders, like shoulder pads were like my nemesis before, but I was like, let me try it. Let me have a go with shoulder pads as well. Let me not take them out. Not man tailoring. I think that overwhelms my frame. Although I have to admit, there are certain elements of like wearing oversized things, more kind of the natural styling that can look really cute on Gamines, in my opinion. So I would wear it, but I wore it in a way where I would offset, say, an oversized top with, say, leggings, you know, or skinny jeans. I started to just pay attention to the balance of my frame. I do think heels look great on Gamines. We're small, but the number one thing that people say to me when they meet me in person and they've seen my videos is, oh my God, you're a lot smaller than I thought you were. So my heels and my camera angles work. I mean, in my opinion, I haven't really necessarily, to my knowledge, seen this being recommended for Gamines, but I think that adding a bit of vertical height does look really, really lovely. We can get away with wearing the trainers, you know, honoring the smallness, but then adding heels, platform boots, that kind of thing, I think just looks really great on Gamines. I mean, you guys will be able to tell me why, but I think it's something to do with the proportions and the balance, and especially where it comes to the length of your limbs, which I'm going to get onto in a second when I read to you Nona's report, which is quite detailed, told me things about the length of my limbs that I have never even paid attention to. Coming back to those classic Gamine features that I started to play more with, we've got, like I said, the fitted cuffs, but also more fitted, oops, sorry, did I knock the mic? I got my proper mic out for you guys today, but more kind of, not just fitted, but higher necklines. And higher necklines always felt really nice. Like, I really liked wearing high necklines. I like polo necks, not sort of the loose, unstructured, you know, drapey things, but things that are quite crisp and fitted around the neck. I've always felt quite drawn to that, but I became more intentional about incorporating that into my wardrobe and my looks. Something that was new to me that I started playing more with was color blocking, because I'm very much I love a nice nude tonal look, or just a single color top to toe look. I do very much like that. I just find it very aesthetically pleasing. And so to color block, wearing, you know, this is obviously color blocking, was definitely a new thing for me, but I liked how it looked. Like, I liked how I felt in my body when I was color blocking, and I was kind of breaking my silhouette. And I think contrasting colors on gamines look amazing. The idea of contrasting colors first hit me actually when I was abroad. I'd taken this kind of black and white, looks like a cow print sort of jumpsuit, but it's not, they were just big flowers. Something that I wouldn't normally actually wear. I contrasted the black and white with like a red lip. So you've got the black and white and then you've got the red popping. And I felt really great. And I don't know, something about that day, I just had such great energy around me. People were responding. And I even broke up the black and white outfit further by adding a belt onto it. So again, it kind of separated the top from the bottom, and that element of separateness between the top part of the body and the bottom part of the body, I think looks really great on gamines. And it doesn't necessarily, I used to think it would make you look short, and I don't like that. My husband loves it, he loves that I'm petite, but I don't. I just feel like I've always said, I wish I was taller. I wish I could just, you know, be like 6 foot, walk through a crowd and just be like, yes, I'm tall. And so cutting my figure off in that way, I used to think it makes you look shorter, but in that outfit, it really didn't. I mean, I was wearing flat forms under it. And again, another point with gamines is that if you want to wear the more flared trousers or the longer trousers, Victoria Beckham does this a lot, you can definitely get away with it as long as the rest of it fits you quite well. It's not drowning you with a tall pair of heels or with flat form, something that gives you that height that is essentially kind of hidden or covered under that long trouser. You know, I think that can look really nice. It can balance you quite well. I have to say though, the hardest thing that I found, just even taking that initial step, once I did it, it was fine. It was great. Loving it now. But that initial step, I think I had to really explore why I was resistant to doing this. And it was definitely all just tied. A lot of this stuff and our perception of ourselves, who we are, our essence, all of that ties into your, you know, childhood, really. Patterns from your past. And it's, if you're in therapy, it might be something worth exploring. That thing for me was tying my hair back off my face. I've never been comfortable with having all my hair off my face. I just always felt more comfortable like having my face covered, like hiding behind my hair in a way. Oh, why is that gone all white? That's weird. Just having all my hair off my face, that took a lot for me to do. Is just, you know, things you carry on from your past, you know, being told you've got a big face, you've got a full, I still have a full face. Essentially, that's a part of the type of gamine that I've been typed as. That's a wonderful thing, and it's not a bad thing, but you know, when you're growing up and that's used as an insult, or it's used to kind of explain to you why you're not as beautiful as the other girls, you can carry those things into adulthood without even realizing, but you're doing it. And I think hair off gamines' faces looks better, hair up looks better. Even within gamine, the hair length and the hairstyles, and indeed actually even like clothing styling, it can definitely vary quite significantly between the 3 types of gamine. All right, now I'm gonna go into my experience with Winona. I had to send her pictures of my body from the front, from the side. I sent it at an angle. I sent portrait pictures like so up to here, with my hair down, with my hair up, straight face, laughing face. And then I sent her video. She wanted to see like videos of your natural movement, like how you move, which I found fascinating, because how we move, how we operate, and I know I'm very animated with my hands. I think that can really say a lot about a person as well, and you know, like facial expressions and all the rest of that. And so I think what she had was a substantial amount of information, and that's why I really do trust what the verdict that she's given. Although I have to say, it'd be quite fun to get typed by someone else as well, right? I've been thinking about it. Just to compare, and to compare reports. The scientist in me, I need more data. She got back to me with a written report, and she made a Pinterest board based on my body type. And the body type was, drum roll please, soft gamine, which was what I had suspected I was anyway. The reason I figured that I was soft gamine rather than the other gamines was, firstly, the biggest giveaway was that pixie cuts do not suit me. I don't think I can get away with them. I just don't think I have the type of face to pull it off. I just don't think that it suits me. Flamboyant gamines tend to have a more sharper facial structure. Think, who's the girl from Emily in Paris? Lily Collins. And she has those kind of petite features which just look very, very petite. I knew that I couldn't be that because that's not me, because I can look not petite. You know what I mean? Like with different camera lenses or with the different angles on a camera or different clothing, I can very easily not look my size. So it had to be soft gamine. The other thing with soft gamines is that slightly longer hair, whether it be shoulder length, slightly longer than that, looks really nice, I think, on soft gamine. The other thing, quite interestingly, I found, and this was on, going to meander a little bit, but I was also researching on Reddit. I was looking at people being typed on Reddit. I just did, you know, the deep dive. You know what it's like, okay? If you're obsessed with the Kibbe system, you know it's such a rabbit hole, right? That you fall down and you're like in all sorts of places. So I ended up on Reddit, and on there, people had created boards on how gamines with very long hair can actually get away with it and have that sort of mermaid, ethereal kind of vibe to them. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Longer hair is just something that I can just resonates with me. And I just feel like it does give that kind of mermaid look and kind of that pixie elfish look. Silhouette analysis from Nona. You possess long limbs. I didn't realize that. She said your arms have an extra dose of graceful length, as do your legs. It's about proportions, right? It doesn't mean like you have short legs and arms. It's all in proportion to your height. Someone that's really tall could still have short arms in proportion to their height, for example. She says weight gain that usually accumulates at the chest and or hips. I was like, how does she know? How does she know? Because that's true. Hips and chest and face as well, actually, for me is where the weight comes. Nowhere else. All right. And there's no point denying it, Amena. There's no point resisting it. I personally, you guys, look, between you and me, I love a nice full behind. I just do. I tried it at the gym. Me and my trainer, had a personal trainer. We really worked on it. There were a lot of squats involved, but it just wouldn't get to the size that I really wanted. I just like it. I appreciate it in a woman, you know? It's just something that I'm never gonna be able to do. Unless I go and get an implant or something, not gonna happen. Trim and sharper shoulders. This is exactly Kibbe's definition of the soft gamine in his book, Metamorphosis. A combination of opposites, extra yin. Physically, you are yin in size, petite, in shape, curvy, flesh, rounded features, and slightly yang in bone structure, angular. And it's those opposites that can make being defined as a gamine hard to process because there is that mixture and it can be hard to spot. It is this place where opposites come together, right? You can't get more opposite than yin and yang. You can't have more of a contrast than yin and yang, you know, and having elements to your look that complement that and reflect that and mirror that, I think can be the best way to go about dressing more gamine. In terms of persona, that was an interesting one. I was like, does that really give away your persona? But let's see. In terms of persona or inner energy, that is very much a factor in the system. The soft gamine has an innate yang energy of drive, charisma, and strength, with a yin touch of youthfulness, freshness, and bubbly charm. I think your persona comes off as elegant and poised indeed, but the main flavors or strongest notes are your vibrancy, inner spark, and strength. One thing that Kibbe doesn't really touch upon, and I haven't seen, and it'd be interesting for people to explore, I'll leave that to you guys, is voice and intonation, because I think that can really influence your vibe. A note I would like to stress is that unfortunately many of the Kibbe recommendations give off this idea that soft gamines have to look extremely girlish. Yes, that is the impression that I got. Very animated, yep, that's the impression that I got. And wear tons of color blocks. Hopefully my soft gamine tailored suggestions will clarify that myth. At the end of the day, it's about who you are and how you feel in certain lines and cuts and prints and trims and colors. And you shouldn't force yourself to be or dress how you don't want to, what doesn't innately feel right to you. Nobody has the right to tell you to do that. And sometimes culturally, particularly in pop culture, particularly where it comes to what's trending in terms of a body shape or a size or whatever's trending in fashion at that time, it can often feel like that's dictating to you what you must do. But the key part about Kibbe's body typing system is that it's timeless. You put into it who you are, not the other way around. The clothing isn't putting into you who you should be. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Anywho, Mickey's just sat behind the camera there. Mickey, are you filming for me? I do love very blended outfits. And again, am I gonna stop wearing them? No, I'm not. Is it recommended for a Gamine? No, it's not. I'm still gonna wear it. You know, I'll add Gamine elements to it, perhaps a belt that breaks up that outfit a bit more, or perhaps something in my makeup that is a bit more bold, or in my jewelry that's a bit more bold, or maybe even in my hair color, thinking about dyeing it. Shall we go red? But I'm not going to give up like these things that I like, you know, and you don't have to either. That's the point of it. It's supposed to empower you. It's not supposed to make you feel like you have to succumb to all these recommendations. It's just telling you what's going to look best on you, all right? To give further context, the soft classic body is essentially a slightly wide rectangle with softened and rounded corners and a slightly small waist. The silhouette is very subtle, understated, gently sculpted, and not really chiseled or cinched. Sharp edges should be fulfilled through the use of tapered collars, cuffs, waist definition. This is all stuff that I was experimenting with anyway, so I was like reading all this like, upholding of the shoulder shape, and through structured details like well-formed pleats, folds, cuffing. Accuracy is key here. Avoid bulky and boxy shapes. But the other thing is, remember, say if you've got a longer dress, for example, like one of the dresses that she analyzed is from a video that I posted on my Instagram recently, where I am wearing like quite a flowy, unstructured dress. It's a brown one. And I think that, in my opinion, I think the whole outfit still looked really good because I was wearing a more structured blazer over the top. And what's funny is, even before I got this report, when I was trying that outfit on the day, styling it for the video, something about just wearing the dress by itself wasn't working. Like, that's why in the clip I am wearing a blazer that's leather, a bit more structured, a bit more kind of textured over the top, a bit stiffer. In comparison, again, playing with opposites. And I did that deliberately, playing with opposites, because the dress is so soft and flowy. Oh, I just noticed in makeup it says, gloss looks great on you. Gloss I don't wear very often. I'm trying some gloss. Bit of Bare Minerals. This outfit, she says, is a dream. It's so vivacious and sassy with perfect proportions. The collar is absolutely perfect. The perky high ponytail and bright lipstick and cat eye turn up the volume on your charm. The fun sleeves make a statement that match your energy. The jeans are basically a second skin in how perfectly they fit, and the shoes are fun and open and lightweight. Love all the colors. The next one, the blouse with the doses of playful yin detail and rounded but crisp sleeves and the ponytail are just absolutely perfect. Next one, so thematic and lively. The hat just really takes it to the next level. Such a fun and vibrant use of black and white to create a cool, playful and sleek ensemble. Next one, such a gorgeous pattern, great shoes, perfect example of draped fabric embracing a strong outline. You look really great in buoyant outfits that maximize your contours and proportions, that feature broken lines and contrasting colors, patterns, textures, and lively doses of crisp shape. Your hair looks extra lovely in a buoyant high ponytail or weightless and fresh asymmetrical long bob. Your makeup is so fun when it's expressive and bright, just like your energy. You are very expressive and your energetic drive is infectious and highly palpable. Never ever hide your fabulousness or weigh it down. Aww. Oh, also hats are just a dream on you. I happen to love them too, so that's great. I hope this has helped you understand my reasoning for why I think you best fit the soft Gamine image ID. Please do not hesitate to discuss or ask questions. And that's it. That's what I got, soft Gamine. I hope that in this video we were together able to walk through some really great style suggestions, some really good outfits, things I liked, things you liked, things I didn't like, things you probably didn't like, but most importantly, we're all just kind of on this journey of learning and discovering more and enjoying style and having fun. That's the most important thing. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon in my next video. Take care.